Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Wrestling Weekend Recap, where we bring in the latest, also the good and the bad of what we just witnessed this week with all of the wrestling primetime shows. We're talking about Monday Night Raw, Friday Night Smackdown, NXT, AEW, New Japan Pro Wrestling, and Impact Wrestling. So we're going to start off with our infamous disclaimer, and that is that everything that we say and state is strictly our opinion, and it does not necessarily reflect the views of the platform that we're on or the wrestling companies that we talk about. And now, don't have a cow, man. Whoa, this week, to me, I've seen chaotic, and even beyond chaotic. So in this program, of course, we're going to talk about everything that we've seen from what we witnessed with AEW Dynamite, another super show that they put on. Very well deserved, I might add. Also, NXT coming in strong as they're laying it all out for their upcoming two-night takeover of Stand and Deliver. Why I feel this year's WrestleMania is not as interesting and I'm trying to find the word here, and hyped as it would normally be, just like in the last number of years. Not the last number of years, but I say from 22 and back, if you get my drift. And also the latest noise that's going on with Raw, because I feel that the one minus and that has been the talk of the town for all this week is the breakup of the Hurt Business. It's like everything else on Raw to me is just small potatoes. So let's get on with it. Of course, like we mentioned, AEW Dynamite, an incredible show. There hasn't been anything negative, I believe, that have crossed my view, having to review already for 2 straight nights in a row. Like, for example, like I talked about last week, the Arcade Anarchy, man. I get the concept, but I me being an arcade lover myself, if I was a guy that would actually own actual arcade cabinets and not the arcade one-ups, but like actual heavy arcade cabinets of its original size, I would be super pissed. Because if you recall the numerous machines that they had the old classic popular titles of yesteryear. I still can't get my mind out of still can't get the picture out of my mind of Chuck Taylor having to leap off from on top of Mortal Kombat 1. And the SOB is so lucky that he actually dove off and landed on whoever just to make a pop, just to get cheers. When in reality, it's like, oh, cool. I mean, saying it, oh, cool, but in reality, it's like, you SOB. Like, what the hell, man? Like, seriously, man. What the hell? But it was all in good fun, nonetheless. In a few minutes, we're going to check out the audio of the clip because, nonetheless, a lot of pops went in and out. The arrival of 2 AEW superstars that were out for a little bit, and that was Trent Beretta, and of course, the Alien Woman. That would be
Chris
Statlander, yeah. And it's been a long while since we've seen it, so we're gonna be talking about that because we feel that one was a strong, a really good match Two strong segments though in this show: the return of the Inner Circle, how we're seeing the old tide of the Nightmare Factory going down, and what we're seeing rising is the new federation of these young cats. That, in my opinion, because having to think about it in my mind at work during lunch, it's like, okay, if these guys are breaking away from their teachers, from their superiors, from this model of how they want for these kids to rise up, it's like, even if they had opportunities, it's like they've been put down. They haven't had matches, and it's like, for one reason or another, they just haven't had a break. They just haven't had a break, and I feel that this is going to be their time where it's going to happen. So, nonetheless, out of everything that has happened, we've seen Don Callis having a heart-to-heart with Matt Jackson and all of that, and maybe trying to split the Young Bucks, maybe trying to make us a solo star out of Matt Jackson, trying to break away from this unionship that we have seen already for so long. That's what I feel is kind of happening. There's been other segments, other matches. We witnessed Christian Cage in his debut against Frankie Kazarian. It was a stupendous match from two guys who already were familiar with each other in TNA wrestling, not Impact Wrestling, TNA wrestling, where, in our opinion, wrestling mattered at that point, where it was something huge. It was awesome to watch, and I miss those yesteryears of TNA wrestling when it actually meant something. Your opinion about Christian Cage and Frankie Kazarian? I thought that match was stupendous. It really took me back to when they actually had a match there, when they had their tryst there.
I think the match between Christian Cage and Kaz, it was, I'm not going to say it superseded the first time that these two faced off at what was then known as TNA at the time. In fact, it was identical to what it was the first time, but these two brought out they brought the best of one another, and truly it was a clinic of a match between Christian Cage and Kaz. These two tried to get one another. It was near falls after another, counters after another, and just when you thought we say it all, at the end it was Christian cinching on the kill switch and getting the victory. But nonetheless, kudos to both men for bringing such a clinic of a match, and could only see it on AEW.
And we're gonna bring it right in to the highlights of the Arcade Anarchy. At this point, we're seeing Miro going after Cassidy, and right here, this is the part that I was talking about. Chucky T launching off of Mortal Kombat, and that was the first acknowledgement of the game, and just tossing Miro right over the barricade on from the opposite side. I'm all like, you lucky SOB that nothing happened to that machine. What if somebody saw it on TV and all of a sudden wants to buy it off of you? Whoever decided to buy those machines. But obviously, like I said, I get the concept of why they did this, because, Miro, Kip Sabian, they're also gamers. They got YouTube channels of their program, dedicated to video games and such. So it's like Chucky T and Orange Cassidy having to take a page out of their book, their gamers book, and make a fantasy land, kind of like a Funko land of games, but surrounding a wrestling ring. Even though they're not fighting in a wrestling ring, they're fighting outside of it, like if it was some sort of kind of like a pit arcade stage fatality of sorts, something like that.
I just want to say that you'll never see a type of ball happen at a Lions Castle or any of these arcade locations. Truly, it was like, oh my God, I can't believe what they said. But that just goes to show the type of action and how far they would go in this arcade tag match.
This spot right here where they do a vertical suplex, and I think it was Chucky T that actually suffered the brunt of it on the Lego set in the ring. Right here, Chucky T's trying to do it to Kip Sabian, but Kip Sabian was the one that actually reversed it. No, he got out of it. Did a kick onto the face of Chucky T. And, oh, right here, does a power bomb. Oh, my God. Can you imagine the sensation on Chucky T's back? Having to endure being laid on those Lego pieces. Oh, my God, man. Oh. DDT, I think, on the Lego pieces. And Cassidy's working overtime here.
I was going to say now what, but I think we have an indication of what's on Miro's mind. I don't know what Chuck Taylor and Orange Cassidy are trying to do, if they're trying to escape.
They're trying to leave, yeah.
But Miro's got the table position. What is that, a car coming at him? Watch out.
And to them, this was like the saving grace. Seeing the van, I'm all like, wait a minute. That's Trent's mom. That was Sue's.
That's Trent's mom, Sue.
Yeah, Sue. And Trent from the middle of that van. And it's like, yeah, man, he's back. Oh, and he's going to get at Miro instantly. But you have to help his guys first. And Miro was already, look at him. He was all ambitious. Went to get some sort of shot from Trent. Look, all three of them on Miro. Oh, man. I'm waving at Sue. Hey, Mom.
This is simply out of disrespect. Nothing but disrespect here, guys. You can't do that. Miro. Oh, come on. Thank God. Trent coming to the rescue of his mom, Sue. I don't know what he was going to try to do, but it didn't look good, guys. And thank God for Trent. And saving his mom, for lack of a better description. Yep. A lot of history between these two men. A lot of hatred, Tony. Yeah, a lot of hatred. Time, close friendship, you may recall. And boy, Miro, I mean, all three were.
Oh, right here. Wait for it.
Take care of Miro one time. I don't know what he's got planned. Mortal Kombat 2.
And that was the fake arcade 1-up build. It's not even complete. It's not even set completely. They just completed the cabinet, but I'm all like, you son of a... Damn! That freaking bar stool over the Miro's head. And he absorbed it, and he's still on his feet. Oh, and Trent speared Miro to the table, man. That was sick. And look at Kip Sabian in shock. But he don't even know what the heck's coming to him. Chucky T here. With a sit. Oh, with a running power slam onto the off the stage and into that table section. That was a really sick match, man. I mean, a really sick match. And if I can recall here, just by watching this, holy shit. I already got 41 likes out of the comment that I added 3 days ago when this thing I posted. I put a first in the history of AEW. This is every gamer's fantasy paradise. And that's how I felt. That's how I felt when I watched it on on DVR and having to see these highlight clips on YouTube. And right here, Chris Statlander returned, and they didn't show it because it happened way before. She actually did a power driver to Penelope Ford on the outside from the apron, man. I mean, the hot wife of that puny maggot Kip Sabian, man. What the hell? Like, she didn't deserve that. She didn't deserve that. And like that. You know, she's out. And that broke my heart. That really broke my heart. But nonetheless, like I stated before on the comment that I put, a first in the history of AEW, this is every gamer's fantasy paradise. Agree or disagree?
Agree. Totally agree. And I'm not much of a gamer, but yes, this Arcade Anarchy tag match truly, and I gotta say, I too was blown off by the way this whole tag match was orchestrated together with all the arcade cabinets, with the games and the board with the prizes and everything. And truly, when you got Miro and Kip City working together, and then you got Freshly Squeezed and Chucky T, and who would have thought that it was all gonna come together? Yes, we expected Penelope Ford to be involved, but truly the highlight of one of the highlights, I would say, of the match was in the plush toy dispenser was one.
See right here, Penelope Ford pulled the referee, Aubrey Edwards, just when she was about to make the 3 in favor of Orange Cassidy, and they both shoved Aubrey Edwards out of the way. Low blow from the hot wife, Penelope Ford. She's about to take off her belt, about to let him have it, but Cassidy had a surprise. It seems like, yeah. Then Chris Statlander from that machine. Oh, from that machine of those dolls and bears and Teletubbies, whatever, launches that window, pushes it, and it went out to Penelope Ford's face, chased her right there on the edge of the apron, and right onto that air hockey table or whatever it is. Look at that! Oh, the hot wife. Come on, man. The hot wife. She didn't deserve that. It breaks my heart. It really broke my heart.
Nevertheless, it was the first of the 2 surprise returns in that throughout that Arcade Anarchy tag match. When I saw the Galaxy's Greatest Alien right in that plush toy machine, she shoves the plexiglass right off, and right there she takes care of the life word. Sorry,
I gotta take a minute.
And I was just right there. And then later on, once the carnage between the men continued, and part of me anticipated as a fan what many longed for, and yes, it finally happened. Trent is back, and he finally took care of. Well, he could take care of Miro. So, Julie, it was a great night at the end of that arcade machine, because the Galaxy's Greatest Alien, along with Freshly Squeezed, and together again, the best friends. Looks like they settled the score with Kip Sabian and Miro. What's gonna be next for either one of them? For now, I guess it's just onwards and upwards for all of them.
I don't think they're really done, especially now with Chris Statlander involved, alien female. I'm pretty sure Penelope Ford wants to get revenge on her, and I can't wait for her to get it. Because yeah, that was so bogus, man. That was so bogus, and I hope she gets what she deserves. I mean, I don't mean it like that, but still, it's like, come on, Penelope Ford. She's like the hottest chick that there's ever been, and Chris Statlander having to stick her nose where it didn't belong. Damn it! Just that's all I'm gonna say. Moving on. The Inner Circle. The Inner Circle returned, and boy, did they returned with a powwow, man. I thought they were going to take a little bit longer to be out and to heal their wounds, but nah, man. No, they came back, and they came back to take back what belongs to them. And my God, I mean, here when I thought that we were seeing the Pinnacle in their locker room and such, that they were gonna obviously update and they were gonna move on with the next facet and all of that. They did not expect what was coming to them. They did not expect what they were about to get. Let's listen in. Of course, I guess the interior decorator for the Pinnacle, they're about to make decisions, options, whatever not. Okay, here we go. Here we go.
Right?
Here we go.
And moreover, we can find this disgusting stench.
Here we go. Look at that. They were like inside waiting, mean mugging. And look at MJF already in panic. Oh shit. Oh. Oh man. Now this to me is an actual gang fight. This is what gang fights should be, and unfortunately for WWE, this is what they're lacking right now. They stole. These guys took an old formula that used to work for WWE. They don't know how to apply it anymore, and AEW knows how to apply it. Look at this, and I love how they're doing. One guy of Pinnacle, one guy of Inner Circle. In this case, look at Sami Zayn taking out Shawn Spears. Look at this. Oh. And then they switched the shot to add suspense. Now it's Wardlow and Hager, the two biggest guys. Oh. Right onto that table, that massage table, furniture, whatever that was. There went Wardlow. And now the tag teams, FTR, Santana and Ortiz. Oh. Wheeler ended up in that big ice tub of water. Man, he's going to get hypothermia.
Santana was swinging for the fences.
And Santana right here is about to get taken out. He's about to take out Dax with a broken piece of wooden furniture in his hand. Ah! He's out. And now the two head guys of the respective groups, Jericho and MJF. Look how hot Jericho is here. And he should be. But right here, Jericho's going to prove as a sides project that he can make shit float. And look at that. Oh my goodness. That was golden. Well, that was actually brown, but here's the piece of resistance. The worst is yet to come. Oh, that did it. Right on the glass door of that Pepsi machine. Drips his bubbly all over the back of MJF. I couldn't get enough of this piece of footage, man, on YouTube. From beginning to end, man, I was like, yeah, freaking awesome.
And the Inner Circle taking back what's theirs.
And that was it. They took back their old locker room, and I mean they couldn't have done it any better, to be honest. Here I thought honestly they were gonna maybe wait another week for all of these guys to come back and maybe get vengeance. but I guess there's no waiting, and they did it so well. They did it so well. These guys at the Pinnacle was just receiving their punishment, however the heck was going to go for them. Inner Circle had to come back, show them who's boss, and take back what was their property, and that was their locker room.
Bottom line is that segment was priceless because I wanted to see the Pinnacle get their receipt of sorts, and they got it last Wednesday on Dynamite. Though they just when they thought that oh yeah, it's all about us now. It's our time to shine, and they had no idea that they were gonna be bombarded by the Inner Circle. It was well orchestrated. It's like there's a chessboard right there, and just like that, it's like they move the pieces together. But right there was it's like you got right here, you got the. Let's say right here you got the bishop. Next to the bishop was the queen. It was well done because when you had Santana Ortiz, Chris Jericho, and Sammy Guevara into the bathroom, JK on the outside, and right there came the bombardment, as they say. The bombardment. They were so bombarded, and yeah, they were so fired up. They were ready to take back what was theirs, and the carnage, unbelievable. Yeah, but they had it coming. I mean, truly to see how Shawn Spears was taken care of by the chair. See how Dax Howard was subdued, and yes, he nearly got a scar on his forehead. How Cash Wheeler ended up getting up into the ice tub. How Wardlow ended up getting slammed into the massage table, and how MJF, his face ended up getting shoved into the toilet and then tossed right into that to the glass of the small fridge door, and added insult to injury, a little bit of bubbly poured right in his back.
Yeah, man, it was priceless. Bottom line, it was just priceless. It was awesome. Can't wait to see what's gonna happen this upcoming Wednesday on Dynamite as regards to the Pinnacle and the Inner Circle. And speaking of Chris Jericho, also what made noise this week is that supposedly Chris Jericho, we thought that we would last see the guy as far as WWE programming is concerned. And it turns out it's not the case. More on that in just a little bit while we talk about insider news once we're done reviewing these shows. And now to top all off with, while we're talking about Dynamite, the angle that had to do with the exhibition match between the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, and QT Marshall. We're going to get into that right now. Still, man, I couldn't believe what happened. And right here with this footage, we just go right to where QT Marshall decked special guest referee and coach of the Nightmare family, Arn Anderson. We already seen this repeatedly from QT Marshall so many weeks ago, as far as Dustin Rhodes is concerned, as far as Lee Johnson was concerned. And it's like, what the heck is really going on here? And then, of course, he was in disgust, but his back was turning. And then all of a sudden, we were seeing the other guys, the other youngsters of the Nightmare Factory pummeling on the guys that had already had more time in the business. And I'm talking about Cody, I'm talking about Dustin, and obviously Arn Anderson got decked. Lee Johnson, who, in my opinion, obviously was getting opportunities recently, but the thing that I'm seeing here as we're watching this ass kicking, it's like what I stated before. This is the old guard of the Nightmare Factory, the Nightmare family, being dethroned for what is about to be the uprising of these future superstars within the Nightmare umbrella as a whole. Oh my God! Look at that! Look at that big thud of that Lee Johnson just suffered over the rope and right on that platform when walking into the ring, man. And then QT Marshall just steps over the head of Lee Johnson. Sick ass bastard. And that was done by Nick Camarado. And then look at that. He's attacking Arn Anderson again. Because while we're watching this and while we're on the subject, this is where I'm trying to get at. It's these guys that hardly ever got a break. Nick Camarado, obviously, he's the biggest gun right now within this group. Whether he would have stayed as a good guy or as a bad guy, but now that he's a heel, it obviously suits him because he's got the look of a heel, to be honest. And Aaron Solo, he hasn't had any wins, maybe one or two, whatever, tag team or singles, whatever. But it hasn't been really pleasant for Aaron Solo ever since he started his run in AEW. And this guy, Anthony Ogogo, when he came into AEW, all he was a commentator. They were giving the background of this guy of, what was he, an athlete, MMA fighter, or whatever. AEW's error was not displaying him in the ring. And look at this guy, what he's about to do to Cody while Camarado and Solo are holding on to him.
Loading up. That left hand. Oh, my God, body shot.
He was an MMA fighter, a boxer, whatever. But bottom line is that he's an athlete. AEW's mistake is holding him back and making him a commentator for AEW Dark. They should have capitalized on him. They should have gave him an opportunity. So what I'm seeing here is that these guys have been held down by the Nightmare Factory, Nightmare Family, whatever you want to call it, of this Nightmare umbrella, and they've had it. They had it, and they figured that the only way to rebel against them was QT Marshall standing up for himself, so that way these guys can all have action through QT Marshall. And here we see Red Velvet begging off to quit while QT Marshall was ahead. And I don't blame Red Velvet. That's showing loyalty to the American Nightmare, because obviously Red Velvet got herself an opportunity too. If she didn't have an opportunity, I'm pretty sure she would have joined QT Marshall and all the rest.
I can't believe what we have witnessed. Tony, this has been nothing but rampant destruction.
Jade, I gotta hear from you. What do you think of this angle?
Honestly, I got no idea that what transpired last Wednesday on Dynamite was an act that there was mutiny within the Nightmare family, because when we all thought that there was some discord within the Nightmare family, the way how QT Marshall left the Natural Dusty Rhodes all by his lonesome in that in the casino tag match at Revolution, it looked like there were signs of discord, but now all of a sudden it's more than just discord. There was envy, there was jealousy, and who would have thought that as of last Wednesday on Dynamite, it was demonstrated when Nick Camarado, Aaron Solo, and Anthony Ogogo all of a sudden looked things in QT's point of view and said, we're done following the Nightmare Family's protocols. Like, it's time for us to create our clique and say it's time for us to be in the spotlight, for us to get our shot. And truly, it was like I was like, as a fan, I couldn't be appalled. But honestly, you just want to captivate the viewers. Like, what else can go on? And I just want to say what else is going to happen. What is pretty much their agenda? Does this group have a name? We don't even know what's going to be the deal with Anthony Ogogo, with Nick Camarado, with Aaron Solo, with QT Marshall, whoever else. But bottom line is that come Dynamite, their intentions will be known.
And that was our pretty much quick review as far as, or recap, verbally, of what happened with AEW Dynamite. Of course, they added, they promoted 2 matches set for next Wednesday, and we will come back to those at the end of this show. We're going to jump into NXT because, like I stated in the beginning of the show, I feel that NXT is actually getting a lot more heavy promotion. I feel that there is a lot of hype when it comes to this brand more than what WrestleMania is getting, to be honest. And here's the prime example. Their biggest main event, besides of course, having the NXT title defended between Finn Balor and Karrion Kross, that to me is going to be a very explosive match. But I think what the one match that's really taking the cake right now is the biggest grudge that I've ever seen in the history of NXT, and that's when the Undisputed Era disbanded and we got Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole going at each other's throats ever since this whole thing broke off. And I love the video package that NXT put together when it comes to these two. It's like if this match should have been a part of WrestleMania, and this match should have been a headliner for that pay-per-view, to be quite honest. But since NXT is doing a 2-night takeover, I believe that this match, besides the NXT championship, besides the NXT Women's Championship, those 3 matches with some others I am looking forward to, because I believe NXT is going to come out strong with this 2-night takeover stand and deliver, which I understand Wednesday they are going to do a simulcast between USA Network and Peacock. So whichever platform you want to watch it on Wednesday, you can do one of the two. But for sure, Thursday, night 2 will be aired on Peacock. Let's listen into the video package, because did you ever get a chance to see it?
No.
Well, listen and watch, and you're gonna see for yourself just how well this video package has been put together. This is something that I haven't seen in years, which, to be quite frankly, for the Raw and SmackDown brands, they actually stopped doing. It's nothing like it. There we go.
Backstage at a show, and we hit it off. Little did I know that this man would become both the biggest blessing to my career and the biggest curse. And the first time I met Kyle O'Reilly was back in 2009. And pretty much from that moment going forward, I in some way, shape, or form have been attached to Kyle O'Reilly. You know, whether that be as a friend, whether that be as an opponent, no matter where it is in the world, Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly have been attached to the hip. We've known each other for a long time. At least I thought we did. When we first got here, we didn't care who we stepped over to succeed. 4 hungry pimples determined to take a spot at the top of the card where we belonged. You could say we were shocking the system, but we were making a statement. We didn't give a damn about whose expense or who's footing the bill. We become better wrestlers. We became better fighters. We became champions. We became stars. Became a better person. Adam Cole is just the same that walked into this place 3.5 years ago. And I keep forcing myself to really, truly believe that the last 3.5 years meant nothing. That the Undisputed Era meant nothing. I'm forcing myself to really, truly believe this, because if any part of me thinks for a second that one day you and I could be cool again, I won't do what is necessary to put you down for good. God's sakes, I bought into this BS that the Undisputed Era was about brotherhood. It was never about that, Kyle. I sat back and I watched you fail, not once, but twice. You tried to have Finn Balor join the Undisputed Era. Have you lost your mind? And then it all made sense to me. It's because deep down in your core, you are nothing more than a lapdog. You are a sidekick. You are someone comfortable being on the sidelines, and that is not me.
Excuse me, Mr. Regal, what just happened between Adam and Kyle?
What's happened is everything is completely out of control, and hopefully the police officers drop their charges, because nothing is going to stop them destroying each other. I'm going to have a solution to that situation. Thank you for joining me here tonight. Now, it's obvious that the situation between the two of you has got out of control, has reached boiling point. In fact, you've got a bloody police involved. And I will not have you embarrass this company that so many people have worked so hard to create. What I have here is a solution to this situation. This is a contract for Kyle O'Reilly to face Adam Cole in the co-main event of Stand and Deliver. This match can only take place when you have both signed this contract and you acknowledge that NXT is not accountable for anything that happens to both of you.
Let me explain something to you, fuck. You know, deep down in your heart, you are jealous. You are jealous of me. I'm going to remind you who the better man is. We've been friends for 11 years, and you tried to end my career. You tried to end my career, man. I sold my soul for the Undisputed Era, and I want it back. You broke your death for it.
Unsanctioned Cole versus O'Reilly. What do you think of that? What do you think of that? Because to be honest, I think what really sold that video package to me was all that medieval, orchestra music that really just spiced up my engines for me to get revved up and say, man, I wish it was already Thursday, right? They announced it for night 2. I wish it was already Thursday so that I can see these two guys beat the hell out of each other. And I honestly am going for Kyle O'Reilly because, to me, it's like this guy is the one in the Undisputed Era that has a conscience, while everyone else pretty much doesn't. Maybe Roderick Strong. Bobby Fish, we don't know where the heck he's been at, why he's been out for this long. Hopefully, if Pro Wrestling Unlimited or Wrestle Talk or any of the dirt sheets themselves, if they have any report on Kyle O'Reilly, or not Kyle O'Reilly, but Bobby Fish, if only they had some update on him, where the heck he's been, what's going on with him, how come he hasn't been seen, then maybe we would understand why he hasn't been in this picture as of yet. But there it is. What do you think of the video package?
Honestly, I gotta say that piece was unique because the montage was really great. They talk about the history between Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole. So they dated back. They knew each other when they were kids. They yearned to be pro wrestlers, and that's how they made it. They've been around the circuit, from the independents to Japan, and now they finally make it to NXT to become the best of the best, to make it to the main event, to the WWE, and that's pretty much what it was. But one thing we have to understand about history is that whenever you create a faction, you create a stable. Evidently, there's gonna be a pecking order, and so Adam Cole made some. Well, as much as I hate to say, even though I don't agree with some of his words, he made some sensible comments. But here's one thing I do have to say, that on Thursday and the second night of Stand Deliver, Kyle O'Reilly has a chance to prove himself. He said he never needed the Undisputed Era to become a star. All he needed was himself, and he pretty much said that on Thursday night, he wants to show Adam Cole that that he has the will, that he has the heart, that he'll do everything it takes to prove Adam Cole wrong. And pretty much from what I saw on that video montage, that pretty much Adam Cole said that it's been Kyle O'Reilly who's jealous. It was Adam Cole the whole time who has been jealous, because like we mentioned it before, Adam Cole was, for all intents and purposes, a member of the Bullet Club. However, he was not a legitimate member of the Bullet Club. And based on how this angle transpired, going back to the now NXT champion who founded, for all intents and purposes, the Bullet Club, it's like there's still hostility, there's still resentment. It's like he still wants to prove to Finn Balor why he should not be overlooked. But nevertheless, going to Thursday night, this could be Kyle O'Reilly's chance to finally prove himself, not just to Adam Cole, but the entire industry as well.
Nonetheless, that fight is one that I'm definitely looking forward to seeing coming up this upcoming Thursday on Peacock. NXT Night 2 of Stand and Deliver. That one is going to be one hell of a war, an unsanctioned match on top of all things. It's going to be gruesome to the bone for sure. Other things that have took place in NXT, of course, we witnessed Roderick Strong and him being bothered by this Hick Carney and Rich Hick Carney, Grimy, I like to call him, Cameron Grimes, just wanting to get the rights of the Undisputed Era because he believed that he can make something of it now that the actual group is no more. But that obviously pissed off Roderick Strong. They had a match, and unfortunately, it got the best of Roderick Strong, and Cameron Grimes just, capitalized murder with a win. Also, we witnessed Santos Escobar, the cruiserweight champion, one of two cruiserweight champions, taking on Tyler Breeze. We also seen Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell. They won their tag team match, and they challenged the NXT Women's Tag Team Champions. And I believe they're going to have a match as well for Stand and Deliver. Zoe Stark and Raquel Gonzalez had a phenomenal one-on-one match, but of course the power of Raquel Gonzalez, she's still going on strong. I'm behind her all the way. I'm still behind Zoe Stark nonetheless, but in this case, I knew that Raquel Gonzalez was going to come out capitalizing with a win. Her and the women's champion, Io Shirai, have been getting at each other's throats almost the entire night. We're going to get into that audio file just a little bit. Also, we witnessed Casey Catanzaro and Kaden Carter going up against Xia Li and the female Shang Tsung that has been sitting in that chair in her dark courtyard, Tian Sha. They had also a match, a tag team match. And we've been seeing these promos about this cute little dog, this cute little doggy, and I know it's a girl, saying that Frankie is going to come in 2 weeks to NXT. And we know that Frankie is formerly who in real life is the wife of John Morrison, and that would be Taya Valkyrie.
Yes.
Okay. I was trying to remember the name, Taya Valkyrie, and I wanted to say it right on top of things. Of course, we witnessed her in Impact Wrestling, and she has wrestled in other organizations and indies companies around the world. She's finally going to land in NXT. She's just been signed with WWE and work at the Performance Center not that long ago. So we're finally going to get to see her debut in NXT in about 2 weeks. So with that, I feel that we should get into the first piece of this bout that's been going on with Raquel Gonzalez and the NXT Women's Champion Io Shirai, because what we witnessed, it was just crazy. And then of course, at the end of our review for NXT, we'll talk about the 12-man Battle Royal to see who is going to be the 6 guys left that only one of them can win to go against Johnny Gargano for the North American Championship coming up at Stand and Deliver as well. So let's get into this clip. If I can find it. And of course, there were backstage promos as well. Tommaso Ciampa talking about Walter talking about Tommaso Ciampa. Karrion Kross trying to figure out strategy to go against the NXT champion Finn Balor. The way regrouping for the Takeover Challenge. Jordan Devlin's promise for a Takeover. LNI making his steps to be completed. And there we go. So it's going to start out with Raquel Gonzalez's message towards the NXT Women's Champion Io Shirai. My goodness, man. It's like Io Shirai is obviously trying to get everything that Raquel Gonzalez can do to her to absorb it all to see if just to see. Oh, okay. I actually started this one prematurely. So we'll just go with the other one. I guess the one that ended all. I don't know if that one's going to resume from on top or that's going to be the very last thing that we witnessed once the show went off the air. But we'll check that out right now. But nonetheless, yeah, it's like we witnessed Raquel Gonzalez being challenged by Io Shirai to just attack her, and that way she can absorb everything that she brings to the champion and see just how much Io Shirai can take from this big girl. So you're coming from behind and just gets at her. And this, I believe, this was like the third encounter that they had throughout the night. They're battling back where the locker rooms are at, interrupting Raquel Gonzalez's interview time. And right here, just raises her by her head and then swings her through the wall. That was some sick shit right there, man. Like, for real. And this was right after the match that she had with Zoe Stark. And here I thought that maybe, just maybe, this was going to be it for Io for the night. I'm telling you, Io Shirai is the gutsiest woman I have ever seen, and that's why she's been NXT Women's Champion for this long. And look at that. She just goes at her challenger, kicks her ass, and just absorb everything that she's giving her. Everything. I don't know if this is a part of a strategy plan for Stand and Deliver, but my God, man, this is what I'm talking about. Chaotic after chaotic. I mean, we already witnessed chaos stuff going on in AEW. We're seeing chaotic stuff here in NXT. I mean, we haven't seen much from Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly except for the video package. But what happened here with Raquel Gonzalez and Io Shirai, man, that was just off the chart. And look at that. And all of these women from the back, just trying to separate these two. Because there's just so much explosion going on. Look at this. And my God, the NXT Women's Champion in such a rush. She was feeling it. I just hope she has the same spirit and energy coming up for Stand and Deliver when she defends the championship against Raquel Gonzalez. Although I want to see Raquel become an NXT Women's Champion, because if that'll be the case, then maybe this would be it for Io Shirai. Maybe she would move up the roster ladder, and you know, she would embark to other ventures pretty much. But okay, now we're gonna go back to the other video that I started out with. But yeah, I should have known that was something that happened once they went off the air. So this is when they went off the air. And Raquel Gonzalez got her hands on somebody. I don't know who that is. Maybe a jobber. But obviously Raquel was still incensed after having to deal with Io Shirai for the majority of the night. And after she had her match with Zoe Stark. See what her message is.
Io Shirai, loca. You think that you're crazy enough to come in here and take some more? I can't wait, Io. No puedo esperar. Porque la semana que viene, next week. Next week, Io. You're mine.
Plain and simple. Whew. Look at the... She's already at her boarding point, Raquel Gonzalez. But hey, this is what you got to expect from the NXT Women's Champion. And yeah, she... Oh my God. I mean, I can feel for Raquel. Like, reality. Chica, you got this. I'm pretty sure you already endured Io Shirai one time. You can do it again, but then again, it might not be your night. Quien sabe? So, still, I'm behind you all the way. But yeah, this is some really, really good stuff.
I gotta say, last Wednesday and Dynamite, pretty much Raquel Gonzalez and Io Shirai were pretty much going all throughout the entire night and practically all over the Capitol Wrestling Center. It's like no matter, like, they pretty much want to say as who could best the other all throughout the entire night, and pretty much that set the tone for what to expect next. Well, not saying next, but this coming Wednesday on the first night of Stand and Deliver, we're gonna see a spectacular title match between these two women for the NXT Women's Championship. And pretty much, as like Io Shirai said, like why did she pick Raquel Gonzalez? Because she pretty much overcame every challenge, almost every challenge on the roster. She feels that Raquel is a much bigger challenger and a much bigger notch to carve in her record books, I would say. So pretty much that's her goal, to say that she could become the most menacing woman on the NXT roster, just to heighten her stock in NXT.
So now moving on to SmackDown from last night. I didn't get to see it last night. I heard the reviews, watched some clips, but I finally got to watch the episode earlier on today once I got out of work. And it was another decent episode. There were some really good segments. We finally get to hear Edge just taking off of that everything that he's been feeling up to this point, where it's like, damn it, why the heck does it have to go this way? Why the hell does Daniel Bryan have to get involved? There should have been just me and Roman Reigns. That Universal title is going to be mine. And now because of Daniel Bryan and his selfishness, it's just more conflicting by the moment. And it's like, this is like in Edge's eyes, this is just some freaking pest, no good mangy run trying to get in the way of my destiny, trying to get back what I never lost, and that was a championship. Well, in this case, it's the Universal Championship, but still trying to get back a championship that he never lost. He's trying to get back where he's trying to resume where he left off after 9-10 years, and I felt Edge earned it. I felt Edge earned it at the Rumble. He made a marvelous comeback. You know, he came back at the Rumble, made a huge comeback the previous year. He came back into the Rumble being number one, and he outlasted all the other 29 participants. And already at this point where it's getting close to Mania, and all of a sudden Daniel Bryan is in the picture. But like I said last week, as a fan, it had to be a triple threat to entice in the story. So now all of the cards are ready on the table. It's time to see who is the better player. Will it be Roman Reigns still holding on to the championship? Will it be Edge finally getting back what does belong to him? Or will it be Daniel Bryan completing what he's always stated the claim, and that's saying, "Hey, I can beat Roman Reigns." But he don't necessarily have to defeat Edge in this match. He could just go right for Roman Reigns, or he could just pin Edge, and at the end he gets the Universal Championship. So let's just jump into the first promo that started out the night for last night, where Edge actually got the chance to articulate even deeper of what his feelings are as he heads into that triple threat match, which is already 1 week from this Sunday on the WWE Network and Peacock, of course.
You might think I'm mad at Daniel, and I am, but I also, strangely, I have to thank him because I had a lot of time for reflection this week. I looked in the mirror and I finally liked what I saw. I finally saw the guy who, when he is backed in a corner, he comes out biting, he comes out swinging, he comes out doing whatever he has to do. I looked in the mirror and I finally saw the rated R superstar. But while I'm out here, why don't we throw up the graphic of Adam Pearce's masterpiece for WrestleMania, shall we? There it is. There it is, a triple threat match for the Universal Championship. There is Adam Pearce's validation for his paycheck. Way to go, Adam. But I don't think Adam understands the ramifications of what he's done. I don't think Roman understands. I don't think Brian understands. So did I snap at Fastlane after getting hit with a chair from Daniel Bryan, after he hit me with a running knee weeks before that? Did I snap after Adam Pearce made this a triple threat match? You're damn right I did. I finally woke the hell up. I am a man that Roman Reigns aspires to be. I am a man that Daniel Bryan aspires to be. I am a WWE Hall of Fame legend. I am the ultimate opportunist. And I am finally, once again, the rated R superstar. Last week, when I held that cold steel chair in my hands and I felt it crash into your bodies, it felt so good. I had you both. For the concerto. I was this close. And it's going to happen again. And when it does, I won't hesitate.
Could this mean curtains for the Universal Champion, Mr. Head of the Table, Roman Reigns, and Daniel Bryan?
I wouldn't exactly say curtains. I would say like surprises, because judging how he said that he's ever since 1 year ago when he made his return at of course the Royal Rumble and of course and he made his WrestleMania last year return. I honestly thought that he was going to be back in a title related situation, but now that it's taking place this year when he's going for the Universal Championship and realizing that he's not just going up against the Tribal Chief, the reigning Universal Champion Roman Reigns, but also Daniel Bryan as well. And the one thing I learned about the Rated R Superstar, Edge can be a man of surprises. Just when you least expect that you got his number, he turns the tables on you. He finds a way to win a match, because this is a guy who pretty much says, I could find ways to win a match, and this is a guy who pretty much created the concept of the Money in the Bank, and twice he used it to his advantage. So pretty much all I have to say is what we're gonna see from Edge next weekend, since this is the weekend, the of all weekends, WrestleMania weekend. Pretty much, I would say if Edge wants to regain the Universal Championship in this triple threat match, he has to have his cards right hidden under his sleeve, and he has to play them at the right time.
Of course, we're going to be listening some audio in just a little bit that when it comes to the main event of the show, they had a street fight, and of course, once again, it was Daniel Bryan and Jey Uso. Lately, every week, it's been always Jey Uso, Daniel Bryan. There is really nothing against that because both of these guys, they've just been stepping up the ladder in performance and superstardom. So these guys actually deserve it. And I think their performance level has just been raising off the charts as of late, with them two having to work together for different types of matches. The performances were just on par. They were just exciting to watch, and they still are exciting to watch. We're going to jump to that in just about a minute or two. Other things that happened on SmackDown as well. Corey Graves was in the middle of the ring trying to get an interview with Cesaro and Seth Rollins, who to me is still missing the face paint of the Joker, and he would be complete because every week he comes out with a colored suit like he's some sort of a clown, to be honest. And I think that's what's missing. He's the Joaquin Phoenix of the Joker with his. I think he's embracing his Joker vision, maybe. I don't know. But I think that's where it's going. Another thing that took place, they had a 8-man tag featuring the tag team champions, Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode, as they tagged up with Alpha Academy, going up against the former champions, the Street Profits, and the Mysterios. It was a decent, back and forth with all these teams, but at the very end, the champions and Alpha Academy won the match. And we understand that there will be a fatal 4-way with all these teams coming up next week on SmackDown, the last SmackDown before WrestleMania. Also, we're going to witness the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. That will also take place next Friday on SmackDown as well. Other things that took place. I'm not happy with the match that Shayna Baszler and Natalya had. A 30-second match. That was nothing. And then the entire time was just a women's tag team after another women's tag team after another women's tag team, just so that. And it's from both sides, Raw and SmackDown, and they're making their physical state in case of who should be the next contender to the women's tag team championships. Okay, when are they going to make the match? We don't know. So, next. Of course, they had the red carpet segment with Sami Zayn. It was interesting. It wasn't, all that boring. Not even last week's segment that they had with Kevin Owens was boring either. But finally, the world was introduced to that YouTube sensation guy by the name of Logan Paul.
Logan
Paul. I'm sorry. See, I'm still not familiar with what this guy's all about. Went along with everything that Sami Zayn was trying to state with his documentary. Documentary kind of seemed a little off, entertainment, far-fetched. It's like, oh, okay. Whatever. I guess he's trying to draw a point with all of this, and that there is conspiracy theories and blah, blah, blah. And it seems like, Logan Paul was going to fall, was going to be in favor of Sami Zayn and what he was trying to accomplish. But there was a but. And, of course, he resumed it with whatever that but was. And all of a sudden, Kevin Owens came out, stunned Sami Zayn, and that ruined Sami's night. But Sami saw an opening backstage when there was an interview for Kevin Owens, and he stuck him like he pretty much bum rushed him, behind a pair of crates on the side of the wall. Okay, cool. Of course, there was a matchup. I believe there was a matchup that featured, yeah, okay, there it is. Bianca Belaire versus Carmela. That match was all right. We knew that Bianca Belaire was going to win it. I don't know what the heck WWE is doing with Carmela, but, you know, I guess we already predicted that, you know, this repackaging of hers was going to be a complete waste. And I feel sorry for Carmela, the superstar, not the person that's playing it, but the superstar, because all that sexy appeal going to waste, and you don't have nothing for her on television, and you bring her back in a match just to get killed by Bianca Belaire, or you know, losing to Bianca Belaire. Because I can't say kill, because I even ran into a video of Pro Wrestling Unlimited where supposedly there are terms that you cannot say during the WrestleMania promotions. But I don't know if it's strictly for WWE employees or whatnot, but there was just a cornball list of words you can't even say. WWF was one of them. And the word kill was another one. Kayfabe was another one. And then so many others. If I were to show you the video, it would just be completely ludicrous, ridiculous, man. Like some crazy stuff. But I guess. Nonetheless, Bianca Belaire won her match against Carmela. The blue hair lagoon boss, Sasha Banks, showed up, and all they did was just yap, and point to the sign of WrestleMania. And that was it. Was it me, or you were going to say something?
Yes, I was. And regarding the direction that the company had Carmela going on, because for me it was not just the way how they made her look, because I mean, to me was also the fact that she doesn't have her boy toy anymore, her man Reginald the Somali, but never,
the man from Somalia.
Yes, that was like
Reggie.
That was like even I told myself as a fan, is like that was totally stupid, the way how it just goes to show again that pretty much right now the direction of the company is not going very good, because when you have the potential to make stars out of these wrestlers, I'm gonna say whether they're protagonists or antagonists. If anybody from the WWE, I'm sorry for the fact that I can't use any of the terms that they're watching. If you don't like it, they could kiss my Mexican marranas. That means kiss my Mexican butt. But nevertheless, they're just not thinking clearly, and God knows what's gonna happen from now. I'm gonna say from Monday all the way to WrestleMania, because next week I got plenty more for me to say, or I should say, because once we do the live telecast for WrestleMania, some of my comments will be unpleasant, but in my personal point of view, well, and from a logical standpoint, necessary.
And speaking of which, just ahead, we're going to talk about, I guess, the only thing that really caught attention from this past Monday's Raw was the breakup of the Hurt Business. It's been the talk around the world, how it was a negative reaction from fans and even superstars and other things. We understood that Batista voiced his opinion about such move, and, you know, who would actually do such a thing. It was just, in his words, it was just bad for business. We'll jump onto that in just a little bit, but we got to conclude our review of SmackDown with the clip of the highlights from the street fight that took place between Daniel Bryan and Jey Uso. Like how I stated, Daniel Bryan and Jey Uso, as of late, they've been killing it for the main event matches. Doesn't matter what type of match, fight they be in, they be stealing the show on SmackDown already for a good while now. And this street fight just takes the cake for their performance as well. And of course, Edge was out there on commentary as well. Roman Reigns was already out there in his chair watching the match as well, along with Paul Heyman. Special counsel to the head tribal chief.
Daniel Bryan staring right through Edge. What in Daniel Bryan now? And
he's on a steel chair, whacks Jey Uso on the back. Gets him again 3 times. And it's in a way directed to Edge because Edge almost got to do that last week when he was about to do the concerto to both Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns. Now we're up to the point where he does the crossface, and Jey Uso once again taps out to Daniel Bryan. But you can tell, wait a minute. Oh! And you can tell how Daniel Bryan is in the zone, how he is super concentrated, how this match means the world to him once this Sunday comes up for the triple threat match, Universal title at WrestleMania. And look how he's whacking Edge 3 times on that LED pole. Now going after the head of the table. Roman Reigns tosses the chair from afar. No avail, and then he did the running knee up on the rep, and then going for Roman, and he's gonna do the trying to do the crossface, which is what he did to Roman ever since the Elimination Chamber, ever since Fastlane. And look at that uncomfortable position that the head of the table is in. Embarrassed, super embarrassed. Paul Heyman watching from afar as well. He can't believe his eyes what he's seeing. But look how fired up, how obsessed Daniel Bryan is at this point. But he laid out his statement this week as it regards to the triple threat match at WrestleMania for Night 2 coming up on Peacock. Bottom line, how the outlook is shaping to look like. It seems like either Edge or Daniel Bryan could have the chance of knocking Roman Reigns off of his pedestal, and we could witness a new Universal Champion.
A lot can happen from next week because knowing that there's only one more SmackDown left, and what would set the tone for what would become next weekend. Pretty much for the Tribal Chief, he has to find a way to keep that Universal Championship around his waist. But realizing that he has the Radar Superstar and Daniel Bryan gunning after him, it's gonna be an uphill challenge for him to do so. But nevertheless, come next Friday on SmackDown, we'll see where the final pieces will be set, and to see if by next weekend will there be a new Universal Champion.
Also, another thing that I haven't tossed in of what took place on SmackDown, Apollo Crews had a backstage promo where he challenges Big E to a Nigerian drum fight. What does that consist of? We don't know. He's given the details, but hopefully this coming Thursday, he give us a little bit more details of what consists of a Nigerian drum fight. Is that the phrase of, once I get you in the ring, I'm going to beat you like a drum? Things like that? Or what? Only he can explain clearly of what consists of a Nigerian drum fight. This is, I guess, this would be a first of WrestleMania, but in my opinion, it's like, what the heck are we going to see here when it comes to a Nigerian drum fight? All right. So now we're moving on to Monday Night Raw. And once we're done with Raw, of course, we're going to talk about there really wasn't much of Impact Wrestling that I want to address It's pretty much more of the same. And we will talk a little bit about New Japan and the unveiling. And I'm going to show it to you because you haven't seen it yet. The unveiling of their new New Japan Pro Wrestling World Championship and how it looks like. And you won't believe what you'll see. I promise you that. And also they unveiled a new Open Neverweight Champion, I believe that's what it's called. They also debuted a new model for that title as well. So now we're on the subject of Raw, and we're going to talk about something that really matters because while I get all this stuff out of the way, we're going to talk about the one thing that has been setting a huge fire for all this week. So let's get all this stuff out of the way. Of course, on Monday Night Raw, we witnessed Drew McIntyre going against Mustafa Ali. Mustafa Ali was actually stepping up to the offer of Bobby Lashley to see who can take him out before WrestleMania, and that person gets an opportunity at the championship. And speaking of which, King Corbin showed up from SmackDown and says that he's going to face Drew McIntyre, and that's going to happen next week on Raw. And we all know what the heck is going to happen. We all know what the heck is going to happen. So it's to me, adding on to what we're going to talk about, it's a complete waste that Baron Corbin is even there in the picture, to be honest. A complete waste. We've seen the official contract signing between Asuka and Rhea Ripley, but Rhea Ripley, of course, her actions said best to lay a message to the current Raw Women's Champion, Asuka. Also, we've seen Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre, ever since throughout the night, he's just been asking and wondering to see who from the locker room is going to step up to dare to take out Drew McIntyre once and for all. But there were some answers where it's like, hey, I'm not gunning for you. I'm not that thirsty to go for a title opportunity and we also witnessed Naomi going against Shayna Baszler. Alexa Bliss had her backstage promo explaining that the Fiend was just trapped, whatever that means.
According
We saw
to an Alexa Answers contributor, butterflies are pollinators.
Alexa,
The art trap.
stop.
We apologize.
No, that happens. That's why I try to
According
refer
an Alexa
to as
Answers
Little Miss
contributor,
Bliss.
Be quiet.
Alexa,
butterflies are pollinators. The art
Alexa.
to nectar.
stop. That's what I was trying to get at. That's why I always try to say Little Miss Bliss and not her actual name, because of course I got the gadget activated and that drives me up a wall sometimes. So yeah, get your laughs in your little right in, because yeah, to me it's not that funny. It's just sad. But nonetheless, we witnessed a kind of a nostalgic match between two TNA originals. That would be phenomenal AJ Styles going up against Xavier Woods. And we got to see almost doing a little bit of activity, which is cool. So Scorpion and Sub-Zero obviously developed their own Mortal Kombat game night. And of course, the Phenomenal One and Big Chocolatey Cool got to test their skills. Randy Orton did a backstage promo talking about knowing how far he needs to sink to defeat the Fiend. Bad Bunny delivering a message to The Miz. Braun Strowman having to face Jackson Riker. The Miz and Morrison having to present their video, Hey Hey Hop Hop. Now, I gotta say, for that video, it was very entertaining. It made me laugh, but my goodness, I mean, if they would have ever won an award, they would have. I mean, obviously they would get it, because to me, to their credit, it was a very entertaining music video. It just really was. And I have to believe that Bad Bunny had to stick his help for this thing to happen, just to make it sense, for it to go rise to what normally Bad Bunny sings his lyrics about with the beat and everything. Latino hip hop all the way. But yeah, this is a great counter to what Miz and Morrison have done for the Hey Hey Hop Hop video, antagonizing Bad Bunny on top of all things. Shane O'Mac exposed Braun Strowman's poor academic past. Like, if it really means a thing when their rivalry comes to when WrestleMania approaches. Riddle faced off Sheamus in the beginning of the show, of course. We've seen a backstage promo between Riddle and the newly Warrior Award recipient this year to the class of 2021, and deservingly, I might add, and that is Titus O'Neil. Where Riddle wanted to see Titus O'Neil do a WrestleMania roast. Of course, Riddle be talking out of his ass sometimes, but hey, that's cool, bro. And let's just get to what really matters, is the fact that the Hurt Business was no more, and that's it. It's like, really, this is how it ends? Really, this is in my opinion, they did it way too early. And of course, we're going to get into the audio clip of that moment where the Hurt Business was no more. And I still believe that's going to happen.
2 weeks away from WrestleMania, a spectacular two-night event where the almighty WWE Champion Bobby Lashley will walk in and out as the champion. Now, he's currently set to face Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania, but before we go any further, allow us to make crystal clear our business proposition.
If anyone takes out Drew McIntyre before WrestleMania, you will be rewarded a title match at WrestleMania against the Almighty.
Now, please, don't mistake the Almighty Champion's generous offer. Don't mistake it for weakness. To the contrary, we just felt that Drew McIntyre, he's already had his opportunity. And at this point, we just want to give someone else an opportunity to step up. We want to give someone else the chance to become a star, to face the almighty WWE Champion at WrestleMania, the opportunity of a lifetime. Now, who wants to step up and accept that generous offer? Anybody?
You guys had a perfect opportunity. 2-on-1 handicap match against Drew McIntyre, and you couldn't get the job done. And as a result of that, you guys are barred from ringside for my match at WrestleMania. And don't get me started on the Raw Tag Team titles. This has become an embarrassment. You guys are tarnishing my image, and that's why we had to step out of the family for the situation that we're in. And now, I cannot count on you two for anything right now. I worked too long and too hard for this WWE Championship, and I refuse to associate myself with incompetence.
Listen, let's just be real. The Almighty's right. You two had a 2-on-1 handicap, an opportunity to take out Drew McIntyre, and you failed miserably. So here's an opportunity to speak up for yourselves.
Whoa, what is all this? We could have done this privately, but instead you bring us out here.
Wait. Is that what y'all brought us out here for? To embarrass us on national television? Incompetence? You wouldn't even be WWE champion if it wasn't for us. We were the one towing the line for you. We were the one that had your back.
Hey, back up, man.
Get out of my way. Don't talk to me like I'm some child.
Back up, man.
Get out of the damn.
Oh, and Lashley after Alexander got Benjamin. broke it down in a hurry. Look at the eyes of Lashley. All right, now Lashley seething, going after Shelton Benjamin. I cannot believe what I'm watching right now. And the Hurt Business is breaking down before our very eyes. And now look at the WWE Champion. Oh! There goes Shelton Benjamin. Cedric Alexander now on the apron, thinking about protecting his tag team partner Benjamin, but thought better of it, thinking of the mood Lashley's in. Things are about to get worse. Oh, Shelton Benjamin. Bobby Lashley looks absolutely disgusted. You guys should be ashamed of yourselves.
As far as Cedric and Shelton, the Hurt Business is over. And everyone else, that opportunity still stands. Anyone who takes on Drew McIntyre, takes him out, will be rewarded a WWE Championship match at WrestleMania.
We started off this night with fireworks. Bobby Lashley just said that the Hurt Business is over for Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin. The consequences of failing the Almighty. The offer still stands. Who will attempt to take out Drew McIntyre on the road to WrestleMania? Well, someone else who's felt the wrath of Lashley is Sheamus. After his match last week with the Almighty, a frustrated Sheamus bumped into the United States champion.
And of course, after that led to a singles match between Shelton Benjamin and Bobby Lashley. A valiant effort by the former All-American from the state of Minnesota and a former Intercontinental Champion, former Tag Team Champion, former Raw Tag Team Champion, but to no avail, and Bobby Lashley ended up winning his match. Now, the issue that I got with this as a fan, of course, Bobby claims to say, oh, he worked too hard. He cheated. He basically, like a coward, put the beating on Drew McIntyre so that way the Miz can capitalize and the belt goes off of Drew McIntyre so that he can get it. And then Bobby Lashley can capitalize off of a business deal that he had with between MVP and the Miz so that Bobby Lashley can get a shot at the title just like that. So, yeah, he worked too hard. Please. And yeah, if it wasn't for Shelton Benjamin and the rest of the Hurt Business, yeah, Bobby Lashley wouldn't even be WWE Champion right now. Now, as far as the whole angle in reality, I really believe that the Hurt Business was at a point of acceptancy because here I wasn't into the Hurt Business all that much, but I was already at the point of accepting them as a force to be reckoned with on Monday Night Raw, and they were doing pretty good for themselves. I mean, they were holding all the gold, to be honest. But if maybe they wouldn't have made the move that way, then maybe we would still be seeing the Hurt Business together as usual. And they would be reigning supreme. They wouldn't have Bobby Lashley perform this almighty ego on a trip thinking that Drew McIntyre doesn't deserve that. What really shows me is that, yeah, Bobby Lashley cannot defeat Drew McIntyre, that he cannot beat Drew McIntyre to still keep his championship. But nonetheless, the reality of the angle. From what I read in one of the stories, who is behind this move? Obviously, it was Vince McMahon. He felt that this angle with the Hurt Business needed to come close this early. Why was it done this early? I really don't know. But in my opinion, it was a very, very big mistake. It was a huge, bad move. And I'm not the only one who's saying it. There's fans around the world that are stating it. Even Batista stated it as well, that it was bad for business. And yeah, man, I mean, this is something that obviously the wrestling world did not expect it to see and really didn't want to see it at this point because, you know, nobody was really ready for it. Nobody at all, Jade, was ready for this move.
No, nobody was ready to see the Hurt Business, you know, just spontaneously combust like that. And quite honestly, it's just, you just want to question the creative direction of Raw more and more, because you had two factions, and I thought one of them could be the driving force to get Monday Night Raw back in business, and all of a sudden there's no faction. And again, you constantly ask yourself, what can be done? And pretty much it just gets to the point where, like, okay, you got this coming Monday at Raw, but possibly from what you're gonna see at WrestleMania is like, okay, you could see the possibility of Raw getting better, or the possibility of Raw getting worse. And knowing that there's 8 months left in the year, you're pretty much gonna sense, okay, you watch the time. It's good to see that you got the New Day back as the Raw Tag Champions. It's nice to see that possibly Drew McIntyre could regain the WWE Championship, but the overall direction is what matters. And if the overall direction is, I mean, like I mentioned before, nothing against what's going on, or whoever's champion right now, but the overall direction is bad, and because there could be a slight possibility that for more we're going to see in this WrestleMania weekend, that the overall direction for Monday Night Raw could get a lot worse. And that's the one thing the WWE Universe doesn't want to see, because if they see come next Monday leading into WrestleMania weekend, to see the direction of Raw get worse to worse, there comes a point where they're going to say, the heck with it, I'm not going to watch this show anymore, I might as well just watch NXT or Smackdown or whatever else. But as far as Raw is concerned, not my concern anymore.
Yeah, we can only, I guess, stomach things as far as, watch something that can only get a certain reaction to, because, like I stated here, I thought that, we were going to see the Hurt Business for a little bit longer, maybe until after WrestleMania, and then from there it would have been wise to actually kill the group, because, the one helm of it all was Bobby Lashley, but what's keeping the Hurt Business together as a whole was obviously the other members of the group. And MVP was only a mouthpiece, to say the least, and strongly, of course. But they're stating that the Hurt Business is still intact. They're probably gonna consider other members to become a part of it, but for Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander, that's it for them. There are no second chances for them. They already had their second chance. They blew it, and that's pretty much it for them. They lost the Raw Tag titles. That was strike one. And they had a chance to put down Drew McIntyre, so that way the Hurt Business can have an advantage for WrestleMania, and they miserably failed at that. So that was strike two, and make it strike three, and they're out. So now that was it for that. But yeah, still, I mean, it sparked a really huge, social media fire when it came to that. The Hurt Business is done with, and they shouldn't have split those guys off from that the story. And yeah, man, it's just disappointing, because we thought we were seeing a really strong group that can definitely last a little bit longer, and it turns out that is not even the case. So what is next for the Hurt Business for the story? I guess we're gonna have to find out from this upcoming Raw, which is gonna be the last Raw before WrestleMania. And I know one thing for sure is that this final Raw for before WrestleMania is not going to be a strong one. It just isn't. Despite that, of course, the only stories that are really still somewhat of a sense is the one between Randy Orton, Little Miss Bliss, and the Fiend, Bray Wyatt, of course. That would be the only thing. Everything else seems like small potatoes. For SmackDown, I'm counting it that it's a little bit more decent for them to complete solidly a go home show, before WrestleMania. So that I am counting on and expecting for sure. So while we're at it, for the inside news, so I stated earlier that, of course, as far as Chris Jericho is concerned, are we really seeing the last of him as far as WWE programming is concerned? Well, the truth is, no, it's not going to be the last of Chris Jericho, because just this past Thursday, the news broke out on social media that the next all-new episode of the Stone Cold's Broken Skull Sessions, which will air right after WrestleMania Night 2 on Peacock, the special guest will be Chris Jericho. Believe it or not, and it is true and it is confirmed, Chris Jericho will be Stone Cold's guest on the next episode, the all-new episode of the Broken Skull Sessions on Peacock. So you got to wonder, how in the hell can that happen when Chris Jericho is contracted as an AEW performer? Well, I believe, if I remember correctly, the deal was Chris Jericho contacted Stone Cold, and I guess they, agreed if he can do a Broken Skull Sessions with Stone Cold. And Austin thought it was an incredible idea, so he wanted to run by it to Vince McMahon, and he asked him, and he said, "I like it, do it." And he wanted to make sure that he said yes, because he asked him a second time, "Are you sure that I can do this podcast with Jericho?" He says, "Yes, I'm all for it. You got the green light. Have fun, go do it." So it became official. I already believe they filmed that podcast, so now we're just waiting for it to be revealed on Sunday, right after second night of WrestleMania on Peacock. We will see the all-new episode of the Broken Skull Sessions of Stone Cold Steve Austin with his guest, former WWE superstar and current AEW wrestler Chris Jericho. Now, question is here, we know that they're going to talk about everything that Jericho's done with WWE. Before that, WCW. Before that, ECW. Before that, all the other companies and, indies that Jericho has been involved with. We don't know if they're going to be allowed to talk about anything that he's doing right now with AEW ever since he joined AEW, or right after he left WWE and did a stint with New Japan, because he did matches in New Japan in his young years, and I think while he was in WCW, he did matches for New Japan. I believe so. So he'll obviously talk about his experiences there. But we don't know if he's going to talk about his experiences right after he left WWE to go to New Japan. And, talk about his great matches that he had with Kenny Omega, that he had with the Rainmaker, Kazuchika Okada, with Tetsuya Naito, all of that, because Jericho had a very awesome stint with New Japan at that time once he left WWE. It was incredible to see those matches that he had in Japan. Awesome. Really awesome. And I'm not a Chris Jericho fan, but I give the man his due, because he's been in the business for a long time. And who wouldn't be entertained by Chris Jericho and everything that he has to offer to give fans a memorable experience of what he does? And on top of that, Fozzy is one of the best rock bands I've ever heard. So I give commending to that to him as well. So can't wait to see that episode coming up after the night 2 of WrestleMania on Peacock. While we're at it, we also got to talk about the WWE Hall of Fame. So this past Wednesday, even though I already knew ahead of time because I heard the rumors of it, and Paul Heyman confirmed it on his Instagram doing a pic of this, typical, of who the last inductee into the class of 2021 should be, and that is none other than the whole f***ing show of Rob Van Dam. Congratulations, RVD, the man from Battle Creek, Michigan, right next to the one Kellogg factory over there.
Yes.
Congratulations, RVD. You do deserve it. And like I mentioned earlier, the recipient of the Warrior Award will go to none other than WWE's superstar and community ambassador, Titus O'Neil. Congratulations. So now it all makes sense, and it's full circle in a way for Titus O'Neil because, as of late, he's been a spokesman for the community service, on behalf of WWE to all that is out there, and he's been great at that. So he deserves it just as much as the next person. The one thing that we never touched on, especially as far as the Hall of Fame is concerned, was why Batista is not included into the class of 2020. And this has been broken out just 3 weeks ago at the most. Of course, I was informed by my bro Doc because he broke it out to me. Here I thought that, he was a part of it, but it turns out that he's not. So the reason why Batista's not included in the class of 2020 is because, unfortunately, it's in the way of his schedule when doing the movies. He's doing, movies all these months as we speak. So it's conflicting with his schedule. And unfortunately, Batista could not be a part of this year's class of 2020 induction into the Hall of Fame. So Batista will be inducted nonetheless. But now they're going to have to find him, upcoming in the future, when is that going to happen? But WWE is trying to save the animal Batista for an induction of when, after the pandemic, he respectfully gets congratulated by a large crowd. So I believe it makes total sense because, Batista right now is he's a heck of an actor, especially when doing the Avengers movies and other projects. I like the movie, the one that he did on Amazon. What was it?
My Spy.
My Spy, an incredible movie. And of course it was based in our city of Chicago. I enjoyed the heck out of that movie. But nonetheless, Batista has been, he confirmed it and said that, that he will accept the Hall of Fame at a later date. So I think the appropriate time would be, and hopefully the pandemic will be absolutely done with, is if you recall when the future dates of when WrestleMania, the next WrestleManias were going to be. Do you remember the date of when WrestleMania will go Hollywood? I think within the next 2 years or so.
Yes, 2 years.
I think that would be the appropriate year and time frame that Batista should be able to accept it, because that'll come around full circle.
Mm-hmm.
Him being out of WWE, transcending into Hollywood, and already at that point, he's still making it big around movies and stuff. So that should be the time frame of when Batista should definitely accept the his induction into the Hall of Fame for sure. But we just gotta pray that the pandemic is already over by that time, so that way it can make completely sense out of this whole thing, and we witness finally an audience, a crowd, to come back into the events, arenas, and even the Hall of Fame as well, because we understand that the Hall of Fame this year for these two classes, they have been already pre-taped. They've been pre-taped since of this past Tuesday for the class of 2020, We don't know if it's already been done for class of 2021 or if it's about to happen, or if they're going to do that part live. That we don't know. There hasn't been no specific information about that. So nonetheless, let's recount everybody that's going to be a part of class 2020. 2020 is going to be headlined, of course, by the NWO, Hollywood Hulk Hogan, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, Sean Waltman, Six-Pac. Of course, we'll see the Bella Twins get inducted, John Bradshaw Layfield get inducted, the late great British Bulldog Davey Boy Smith get inducted, and of course, Jushin Thunder Liger, the cruiserweight sensation from Japan. Those are the 5 Hall of Famers that will get inducted for class of 2020. For class of 2021, it started out with Molly Holly, Eric Bischoff, the Great Khali, the Big Red Machine Kane, and finally, the whole effing show of Rob Van Dam. So those are the 5 Hall of Famers for class of 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, congratulations. Can't wait to see the Hall of Fame. That is the one thing that I'm excited for the beginning of the week. Just like I stated last week, I'm looking forward to the Hall of Fame, looking forward to Stand and Deliver, and of course, last thing will be WrestleMania. And I hope that SmackDown ends up decent as their last go-home show before WrestleMania. So this upcoming week, WWE is going to be extremely busy. This upcoming Monday, Raw. This Tuesday, the Hall of Fame, of course, Raw will be on USA. The Hall of Fame will be on Peacock to air out the inductions of Class 2020 and 2021. Wednesday, Night 1 of NXT Stand and Deliver, which will simulcast on the USA Network and Peacock. Night 2 of Stand and Deliver will be exclusively on Peacock. Friday will be Friday Night SmackDown on Fox. Saturday, Night 1 of WrestleMania on Peacock, as well as Night 2 WrestleMania on Peacock. And afterwards, Stone Cold's Broken Skull Sessions with a very special guest, former WWE superstar and current AEW wrestler, Chris Jericho. Unbelievable package of what?
Yes.
My goodness.
We just don't know what to expect, honestly, but hopefully it's for the better.
Now, before we close out the show, I did mention that you got to check out the design as far as New Japan Pro Wrestling is concerned for their newest version of the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. And I gotta find out to see. Okay, well, first here's how the strong open weight championship looks like, the new title.
It doesn't look that bad.
Yeah, it's updated, but it looks pretty good. So let me jump onto New Japan. Let me see if I can find that one video. And they debuted it at Sakura Genesis, and that was 3 days ago. So now we're going into the video of Sakura Genesis, Road to Sakura Genesis of this year, where they unveiled the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship to the current champion, which is Kota Ibushi, one of the greatest athletes that we witnessed ever since the yesteryears, when he's been a part of the cruiserweight. What was that name of that tournament in WWE that involved the cruiserweights back? Cruiserweight Classics. Yeah, and Kota Ibushi was impressive. He rocked the house. It's a damn shame that WWE couldn't keep him. He went back to Japan, and rightfully so. He was making headlines anyway in New Japan Pro Wrestling. And we're seeing here the current World Heavyweight Champion, and Intercontinental Champion. He was holding both championships, so he's the unified. He is the real World Heavyweight Champion, and Kenny Omega knows that he is. But he's no Hugh Hefner, though. I'll tell you that. But to Kota Ibushi's credit, he's one of the greatest of all time in New Japan. That kid deserves that much. That's how great, how energetic, how explosive, and how athletic he is. And even though we haven't seen New Japan as of late, we know of Kota Ibushi's reputation in that ring in Japan. He's just awesome to watch. So awesome to watch. Him with Omega when they were the what was the name of that tag team again? The Golden Lovers. They were great. But as a singles competitor, Kota Ibushi is just off the chart. Simply off the chart. And that's obvious why he is a unified champion at that point. But now to get one title and get ready to flip your lid on how this new title is going to look. Okay, now that they're going to unveil the new title, I guess Kota Ibushi is going to look for the very last time the World Heavyweight Championship, the IWGP Championship. He's going to look at it for a few minutes. And he's going to turn it over to, I guess, the person. I forgot the name of the person now who runs the operations of New Japan Pro Wrestling. It ain't the former guy, the American guy. I forgot his name.
Yeah, me too.
And he lasted very short with the company. I'm surprised. And now he's looking at the IWGP Intercontinental title for the very last time. And he turns it in. And now we will see the unveiling of the new look of the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. They're running the video package of the lineage of the IWGP Heavyweight Championship held by numerous champions. We saw there Scott Norton, Shinsuke Nakamura, Brock Lesnar, AJ Styles, Kenny Omega, Evil. Evil was the very last one. The Switchblade Jay White, the Ace, and of course also the lineage of the Intercontinental Champion. To me, I hate to see those belts go because their lineage goes way back for both titles. It just stinks that New Japan has to make this decision at this period. Oh, here's the unveiling. What do you think? You know what they compared this belt to?
What?
Jeff Hardy's TNA title and the Divas Championship belt. As memes.
That's more like a lightweight belt to me.
It looks like a lightweight belt to you?
Yes.
I don't know. I find it kind of corny, to be honest. I mean, it's like if you're trying to mesh this new belt with Kota Ibushi's pretty boy looking status. And then not to knock off Kota Ibushi and how he looks like, because, you know, he's a cool looking kid. He's a stud. He knows how to carry himself. He's very professional. But unveiling a championship at this point in time right now in New Japan, it's I really don't find any point to it, to be honest. I don't know why they're doing it. I don't know if they're doing this to cause controversy. I don't know if they're trying to get attention or it's a little bit of both. But to be honest, and I'm just going to stop it from right here. I don't know. I just I can't find no words for this.
I'm dumbfounded myself too. I mean, nothing against those two belts. I mean, those like you mentioned, those two belts say history. You know, they mean legacy, because you talk about all the wrestlers who held those two belts. They say when you hold on to the New Japan Heavyweight and Intercontinental Championships, that you're truly one of the top stars of the promotion, and I got nothing against them unveiling the world champion, but the design is where I find it. I have to say I'm kind of iffy about.
I'm iffy about it too. There's really nothing captivating about it, but I don't know. I guess that's how it's gonna float the boat of New Japan, pretty much. We still got just a little bit of time before we go off the air. We are going to mention some things that took place in Impact Wrestling. The one person that we never thought we would ever see again is a ghost of James Storm's past. Do you know who I'm talking about?
I think I know who you're talking about.
A former tag team partner of his that they started way back since the Asylum days.
Yeah, now I know who you're talking about.
Wildcat Chris Harris.
Yes.
We already heard so many stories about Chris Harris. You know, once AMW was no longer formed, and we mean America's Most Wanted. I thought America's Most Wanted as a tag team was really kick-ass for its time. You know, Chris Harris, James Storm, they were just incredible together. And that was the best pairing that I've ever seen in NWA TNA at the time. Here, I thought they were going to help transcend TNA wrestling to a whole another atmosphere. But once Chris Harris was pretty much off of his rocker and nothing was the same with him, then he moved on, and with a different partner, and that was in years later, and that was Bobby Roode, and they formed the one team that I enjoyed watching these two wrestle back then in TNA. And then it was none other than Bear Money, which was an incredible tag team as well. But yeah, Chris Harris showed up to wish James Storm good luck on his 1000th match, and he had it with TNA original Eric Young. Another thing that took place, of course, there was this backstage talk between Rich Swann and Don Callis. They were having, of course, verbiage that, you know, Rich Swann did not wanted to hear because he already heard it. Then all of a sudden, Kenny Omega just jumped Rich Swann from behind, and with the Good Brothers at it. And of course, I believe that was Moose in this picture here.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, Moose got in to defend Rich Swann because obviously they go back. And that was the segment pretty much. Of course, leading to the Rebellion pay-per-view that will be coming up at the end of this month in April, which will be seen Sunday, April 24th, right?
Yes.
I'm still trying to grasp the day because they did the switch from Saturday to Sunday on Impact Plus. So can't wait to see if Mr. Belt Collector will do what he says he'll promise, and that is to gain another championship along with the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. And ladies and gentlemen, that will be the end for us here tonight. So, yeah, that's pretty much the rundown for this week. So I think we'll make this announcement right now. We will be doing a live reaction to the 2 nights of WrestleMania coming up this next weekend here on the Ace Man Armageddon channel. We wanted to do the same thing for NXT, but I think that's kind of conflicting with other stuff that we got going on. We wanted to do something for the Hall of Fame, but it looks like I don't think that's going to happen. We'd rather just sit back and enjoy, because that's something that we always wanted to look forward to ever since last year. But because of the blasted pandemic, obviously that did not happen. So now that we'll get to actually enjoy it for once, can't wait for that to happen. But yeah, nonetheless, we're still debating if we're going to do two separate videos, because while we're doing the 2 nights of WrestleMania, we still have to separate everything else that we see in pro wrestling, which is, of course, Dynamite and Impact. And that's all pretty much we're going to focus on for one show. While the rest of the time, it's still going to be the full week of WWE. So this upcoming Monday, Raw on USA, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central. WWE Hall of Fame this upcoming Tuesday as well. 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central on Peacock. They will be doing the inauguration for the 2 classes, 20 and 21. Wednesday, night 1 of NXT. We'll be doing a simulcast on USA Network and Peacock, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central. NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver night 1. Night 2 will be exclusively on Peacock, same time, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central. Friday night SmackDown will be aired 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central on Fox. WrestleMania night 1 on Peacock. And, of course, WrestleMania night 2 on Peacock as well. And after WrestleMania night 2, the unveiling new episode of the Stone Cold Broken Skull Sessions with his guest, former WWE superstar and current AEW wrestler, Chris Jericho. Well, that'll do it for us on our part. So until then, the one and only Jade. I am Aceman X, and we hope that you can join us for WrestleMania weekend this Saturday. Until then, enjoy the full week of WWE programming that is coming up. And as well, hopefully, we wish all of you to stay safe, mask up, peace and love worldwide. It is a Saturday night. And in Chicago, we're going to enjoy it tomorrow because it will be a beautiful day of sorts. Until then, have a good night, everyone. See you next time.